Got a lot of sharks out there trying to take a bite of something.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of, well, I really don't have a name for it right yet, but we're going to start off with learning with Rusty, and Rusty is going to teach us how to actually, the steps in actually learning to properly blow a goose call. And luckily enough, we've got some SRT ones that Rusty has done for us. And that's what we're going to be using it on. Rusty's going to give us a good explanation on what the next 10 episodes are going to be, what we start with, what our end goal is, and he'll give us all kinds of tips and tricks. So over to you, Rusty.
All right. Well, thanks, Damien. So that's right, guys. What we're going to do with this video series here is teach you the basic fundamentals on how to operate a short reed goose call to make you successful day in and day out in the field while you're out hunting. We can't teach you in 10 episodes how to be one of the world's top goose callers and go win contests. That's just not a big enough time frame. But over these next 10 episodes, if you pay attention and you practice the one key word, patience, I promise you, we will make you a better goose caller, whether you're a seasoned veteran, a new beginner, and somebody that's just completely lost on the things. I guarantee there's going to be something in here for everybody. Our end goal is just to try and make everybody a little bit better of a hunter. And by being a very capable short reed goose caller, you're going to be a better hunter. So before we get started into it, there's one little twist. We always got to have twists, Damien. It's just the way we roll here.
Absolutely.
I don't care, and neither does Damien, which kind of short reed goose call you're currently using to practice on to learn how to become a more proficient short reed goose caller. I want everybody that has any interest in this to send videos to myself or to Damien, and we're going to pick. You got to send one now, and then one after we're done. Once we do the 10th episode, we will put a cutoff date for your last video entry to be sent. And along the way, whoever the most improved caller is from your episode 1 video to the end of episode 10 video, we're going to give away a 30-ounce Arctic tumbler with my Heron Game Calls logo and the Punisher Waterfowl logo, as well as a Punisher Waterfowler 0430 Heron Game Calls SRT1 short reed goose call. Now, we sold 10 of these and only 10, but we made this 11th one as a little surprise to everybody here. There's no cost to enter. We just want to see who the most improved caller is. And the most improved caller is going to be the person that practices patience, perseverance, and just takes 15 or so minutes a day to work at getting better. We're going to have to teach you how to practice perfect, but nobody's ever going to be a perfect caller. So just bear with us. Understand that you're not going to fix all these little issues you might have in a day. And let's get started. So I'm right-handed. I don't know if this video is going to make it look like I'm left-handed, but I'm a right-handed guy. This is my right hand. The first thing we're going to teach you on a short reed goose call is how to properly hold it. Okay, so you want to hold it as close to the exhaust end of the call as you can. And you're going to hold it with your thumb and your index finger. These other 3 fingers can wave hi to whoever you want. You only need those 2 to hold it. And then we're just going to lay those fingers down one at a time over the call. Okay, now we're going to take our offhand. Our offhand is obviously the hand that is not holding the call. So if you happen to watch this video series later, you're going to understand if you tune in on episode 6 when I say offhand. Now, what I like to do with my offhand is I like my offhand to marry my on hand. And what I mean by that is thumbs to thumbs, fingers to matching fingers. Okay? Now, you've seen videos, you've seen your buddies. There's always somebody that wants to call happy-handed. They move their hands all around like they're giving somebody a haircut or they're talking on the phone to their favorite Italian uncle. We're never going to do that. That changes the back pressure complexity of the call. And so we're always just going to be married. We're going to be a union, Damien. We're going to be a union. Okay. So we're always going to leave them here. The only time we're ever going to vary from this is on a real high, loud note. I'll use my offhand to throw it, and I'll usually open up my on hand. Okay. And I'm obviously not going to be moving the call away from my mouth. I'm doing that for graphic effect, but that's it. Almost all the calling I'm going to do. Okay. So as you can see, when you don't move your hands, you have a consistent back pressure. It's going to make it way, way, way easier for you to get all these ranges of notes. It'll be just subtle, open, closing, just like this, instead of all this great big happy-handed movement that changes all the complexity of a call. I don't care who you are. If you're doing it wrong, so stop. So once we know how to hold a call, we know how to marry our offhand, okay? The first sound, if you've never blown a short reed goose call, that I want you to make is just the clear who sound. Now, if you've never done this before and you've never had any success on a short reed goose call, what I want you to do is go stand in front of a mirror, because where a lot of people make the very crucial first mistake on a short reed goose call is they blow the air not from their diaphragm, and they end up puffing out their cheeks like this. That's wrong. You're never going to get the hang of blowing a short reed goose call if your cheeks are puffing out. It's got to be hot, pressurized air from your diaphragm. It's the same kind of hot air that, oh, my glasses are dirty, I want to fog them. That's the air you want, that hot, pressurized air, okay? So get in front of a mirror, and the biggest key with this short reed calling is to slow down, have patience, and take your time. I don't want anybody picking up a call and trying to go fast. Don't. You want to be able to just pick the call up right now and go, who? Okay? You should be able to make a consistent tone no matter which short reed call you have. Now, see, what Damien just did there is he just didn't put enough air pressure in, but that's okay, because and I think it's very important that you add your offhand always, because it adds more complexity to the sound. But so it's just and now to make the actual cluck, the good goose note, you're going to say who, ick, I-C-K, ick. Now, what happens when you say that? There's two fundamental ways to break a short reed goose call over. You can either anchor the tip of your tongue behind your bottom teeth and arch the middle of your tongue. Let's just say this is the middle and this is the tip, and this is the roof of your mouth. You can anchor your tip and arch the middle of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and it cuts off the airflow. And then the air that's forward right in here in this little cavity is what shoots across the reed and makes it break over. Or you can use the tip of your tongue and flick it up, hoo-wick, 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 and then it takes a shorter burst and breaks the reed over. Either way is totally fine. Whatever you're more comfortable with is fine. But what's important, and I like to tell everybody to make it easy, is you got to get mad at it on the ick part. You can't just be all relaxed, because your tongue will come up lazy, whether it's the middle or the tip. It needs to slap. The harder it slaps the roof of your mouth, the quicker that burst of air in front of it coming out into the call shoots out, and that's what breaks the reed over. So the easiest way I find to get everybody to get started is to go who, wick, and do it slow. Don't try and go who, wick, because it'll just mess you up. Just who, wick. And you'll notice I'm catching a little tiny breath in between every note. And I think that's very critical, because that will keep you from going too fast. And it's that simple. Now, I make it sound really simple. There's going to be people that are going to do stuff like that, or go huwick, and it's going to go, and it's literally going to sound like it choked out. When it doesn't get that, okay, I did the last two trying to mess it up. And all that means is your tongue is being lazy. If your tongue isn't hitting hard enough, it's not going to sound good. So video record yourself and listen to it. Now take 2-3 days just doing that, to where you get to the point, and it's not a race, guys. If everybody would just take their time on this, these few foundation steps, it's way more important that you just take your time and get them properly. Because what I can tell you on a short Reed Goose Call, there's a right way or it's wrong. There's no middle gray area whatsoever. So if you send me a video message and say, hey, Rusty, am I doing this right? It's either yes or no. It can be no, but hey, keep up the good work. I know you're trying. I can see what you're doing wrong, this, that, and the other. But it's either right or it's wrong. There's no, it's not the speed limit's 50. You think you can get away with 62, and definitely 57 is good. There's no 57 here. It's either 62 or 50, right? Good or bad. So keep that in mind and understand that by slowing down, you're going to teach better fundamental muscle control in your mouth, because everything that you do outside of the hot pressurized air is all muscle control and muscle memory. So just like going to the gym, nobody sits down at the gym and says, oh, it's my first day here, I'm going to bench 350 today. It just doesn't happen. You start at 100 and get proper technique and work your way up in weight. Well, a goose call is no different. Get proper technique and then work your way up into the more complicated notes. It's how we have to lay this foundation down. If you can get the fundamentals really, really good, you can be the world's most phenomenal goose caller. But you could have all that talent in the world. If you don't get the fundamentals right, you're going to suck forever. It's just the way it is. So after a couple days of, we're ready to try and get rid of who, and just go straight to so we're going to do that for a couple days. That's just huwick. Now, for those of you that can call a little bit already, you're looking at this going, this is boring. This sucks. Bear with me, because not everybody's where you're at right now, and we've got to do this in the proper steps. So once we can do that, everybody thinks as soon as I can do that, I can pick this call up and hit 4 in a row. Now I'm ready to go fast. No. Now we're ready to gain some tone. And what I mean by tone is some range in the call. So I'm going to demonstrate what I like to call a cluck scale. And I think the cluck scale is one of the most pivotal things to learning how to become an extremely advanced goose caller. And it starts with this note, but you can apply it to every single note in a short Reed Goose Call category that you can think of. And what you want to do is start with low pressure and slowly, step by step, work your way up higher in pressure and volume, and then bring it back down. If you're a Canadian for sure, and you took music class in school, you've heard of the term do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do for pitch. And this is exactly what the cluck scale teaches you. Now, on a goose call, extremely hard to control. Wow, every time I go hunting, I want me. So let's remember to be patient. It's not a race to get up and down the scale. We want to go slowly because we want to train all of our muscles. And when you go fast, things just happen automatically. When you go slow, you have to know it. So a cluck scale. When you start, I want you to start with 3. Once we have control of 3, then we'll go for 5. And when we add to go to 5, we want to add a lower one and a higher one. And then eventually we're going to go to 7 and then maybe even to 9. But for this video's sake, if we can get you to 5, oh my God, are you ever going to have a lot of success in the field goose hunting? Because you're going to see that with the simple hooick, and then we'll add a gur to it after, and then a moan. If we can do 5 of each, that gives us 15 different geese before we even get into anything even remotely complicated. You can sound like 15 geese. That's going to kill you a lot of geese. Trust me. It just takes patience right now to do this slowly, to teach your muscles properly and get proper technique. So a 3-note cluck scale. Okay, and you just want to practice that. You take a short little breath in between each note, and you go 1, 2, 3, 3. Three, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Okay. And I want you to practice that for a few days until you can do it. And every note is exactly what you want it to be. And we're not going fast. Once you can get there, we're going to rewind all the way back. And we're going to add what I like to call the guttural. And that is the instead of going who, we're now going grr, 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 and you'll feel everything rattle up through here. Okay, so who, grr, and as you can see, that's 2 totally different geese. And that's how we're going to practice it. Instead of gur, gur, gurrick, or gurrit, we're going to go hooick, gurrick, hooick, gurrick to break over. So we don't need to do all right. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same kind of timelines, practice that for a couple days, then just practice it stationary all by itself for a couple days, and then practice a 3-note scale. Gurrick, 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 gurrick. Okay? After we've done this, this will be about, honestly, a week and a half, even if you take to it like marshmallows to a fire on a stick. Take your time, because it's all about teaching that muscle memory, right? So once we get that all good, and we can do 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. We're going to start trying to add 4 and 5. Okay, and we're going to do the same with the gur. And we're going to take our time and really just work through that. It's got to be perfect. It can't be anything less for you to be ready to move on to any next step. These steps are the most pivotal in becoming a very competent short reed goose caller. You can't skip over them. I know it's boring. I get it. I've been there. But laying a solid foundation down, if you just build mud up and then throw your bricks on it for your house is going to fall apart one day. Same with this. If you just try and skip through this because you're too good for it, nobody's too good for it. I resort back to the Cluck scale on everything all the time. You can never teach the fundamentals to yourself enough. It is so critically important for you to be a very competent caller. Don't think anybody is too good for this. You're not. This will make you where you want to be, whether it's the next Kyle Jones world champion of the worlds or the next Tommy 3000 to the guy downwind of you. So when guys start working birds, you're able to be 500 yards away and you're able to steal them from them if that's the kind of hunter you want to be. We want you to be able to see geese, call it geese, learn how to read the geese, and develop a calling pace for each individual flock of geese and try and finish every goose you possibly can with this. That's the idea. That's the game plan. That's the goal, to teach you a great foundation. So let's start right there, Damien. We're going to work on who ick, or if you need to say, instead of the CK, you can say who it and go with an IT. And then we're going to switch it over to a gur. So you got who, and then we have gur. We're going to work on that. On the next video, we're going to work in the world's most simple moan. But we want to ace all of this first. If you guys can come back and get to video 2 and have somewhere between a 3 and 5 note Cluck scale on each side. I mean, if you can do 5, you're at 10 geese before we even hit a moan. That's before we've hit any double note, which, by the way, they're not hard once you have a good grasp of the call. And you know what? If you think you're ready, that you can push it, try and get 6 or 7 note scales, go for it. But only go as far as your abilities will let you. Because I can tell you right now, if you can do a 3 note Cluck scale, you'll be able to kill a Canada goose anywhere it's legally possible to be done. You don't need to have the crazy range. It just makes it a little bit more enjoyable. A 3 note Cluck scale is your entry level car. A 7 note is your sports car. That's the only difference. They both get you where you need to go. It's just one gets you there with a little bit more style and class. That's it. Okay, but we're practical here. We just want you to be able to go set out your decoy spread, have an enjoyable morning with your hunting buddies or by yourself, and hopefully work some birds in close. And we want you to pick your call up no matter what short read it is. Doesn't have to be a fancy little wood one. Doesn't matter if it's an acrylic Punisher Waterfowl SRT1. Doesn't matter if it's a $10.99 special from Canadian Tire. We want you to be successful with it. That's all we care about here, is trying to improve your abilities so we improve the sport as a whole. Now, before we get off, I know this is going to come up, so we're going to touch on it right now. I've got a short Reed Goose Call and it's out of tune. 99.9% of the times I hear that, it's the person that owns it. It's not the call. So one of the easiest ways to tell if a call is completely foobarred and where it actually needs some professional attention is when you look. This is the tone board, the long piece. The shorter piece sticking out is the wedge. And obviously the white thing is what they call a mylar reed. If you can take that reed and push it down, and I'm sure the video here sucks. Good old iPhone. But if you can push that reed and it drops down into the tone board, you let go. And you'd hear it go tick, 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 tick if it was. And when you look at it straight on, if you give it a slight press in and you look around the tip and you can't see any really big gaps, then the call is tuned okay. It might be a little stiff for you. It might be a little too light for you. But fundamentally, the call will work. And so you may just have to adjust yourself around it for the meantime. If the reed won't drop into the tone channel at all, or if it's making a noise, seek professional help to get it tuned up for you. There's lots of different calls and call makers out there in the world. There's lots of great calls. There's lots of good calls. there's actually very, very few calls that, in my opinion, suck. You'd be shocked at how many calls are out there for $25 that I think could kill the last goose on the planet with no problems. It's all about the operator. So that's trouble at all. You can reach out to myself, Rusty Heron, on Facebook and Facebook Messenger, or at Heron Game Calls. Damien, you want to give them your information?
Yeah, same thing. So if you want to reach out to me, it'll be on Punisher Waterfowl or Damien Pittman. You can search me up. I'm sure there's not too many Damien Pittmans out there, so it shouldn't be hard to find. And as Rusty is saying, listen, master the basics. I am a beginner, novice goose caller. So I'm going to do this, all these steps with you. I'm going to put in the time just like you're going to put in the time, and we're all going to come out of this a lot better than when we were started. The biggest thing to remember, and what I want to add on to that, Rusty said, listen, let's master the basics. When it comes to special forces soldiers, they're not these amazing, gifted people. They master the basics. That's what they do. They drill day in, day out, every day. They just do it over and over and over so that they don't need to think about it. It just happens. And that's what Rusty is trying to point out right here. Nothing that you're going to learn here is going to be earth-shattering. It's just going to be dumbed down, for lack of a better term, so that you understand exactly what it is you're trying to do and how you're going to make that sound. And Rusty's going to help us figure that out.
Yep. Yeah. Like I say, the goal is, after these 10 episodes, to be able to have people to the point where they can take their call, go out in the field, and be confident in their ability, that they know they have the talents on a call to call geese into good gun range, not call geese into 60 yards and throw a wing and a prayer at them. I want you to be able to call geese inside of 25 yards, feet down, ready to finish out to you. And you don't need to have every trick in the toolbox in order to do that. You just have to have a very, very sound grasp of all the basic fundamentals of operating a short reed goose call. And we're going to do our best to get you all there. And I'm very serious. I don't care which call it is you guys use. If you're struggling reach out to us. We'll gladly help you. That's what this sport is so much of my life. And I want to see everybody be more successful at it. So there's no little business grasp here on my end or on Damien's end. This is seriously more just about being able to give back to the community that's given so much to myself and to Damien. And we want to do our part to make this small little hunting world better. So I really hope that you guys can utilize what we've laid out here in step 1. I know for some it's going to be kind of monotonous, but it is so critical. Get these basics down, get them mastered, make it so that you could do them in your sleep, and everything moving forward is awesome. I promise you. And don't forget, send us a video. Just say, I want in on the giveaway. There's no fee. We're not going to publicly share your video unless you want us to at the end of it. But whoever sends videos and whoever we think is the most improved, they're going to get the cup and they're going to get the call. If you had to buy this, you're looking at $250. And you're going to get it for free just by paying attention and practicing and doing everything right instead of trying to do it your way. You're going to do it my way. And I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, but I know my way works. I got lanyards full of bands, calling trophies everywhere. And I've had so many people tell me over the years that my way has helped them. Not because it's the best way, because there's lots of different ways to learn. But I think my way is extremely easy for the average individual to grasp, to get the basics down. So get to work, get to practicing, wear that mirror out, drive your wife, your girlfriend, your kids absolutely crazy. Don't drive with your knees.
Rusty is freezing up on us. So it looks like this is going to be the right time to finish this off. Rusty is totally freezing up on us. We can't even hear his audio right now. Everybody, as you can see, we're having some technical difficulties, but you have
over and practice minutes. But just remember, it's not a